spend time in bars and music and go out and party, but what does that resolve? It doesn't resolve anything. You're neglecting yourself because of it. And that's what my story tells as well. Hey, what's up? This is MVDB and I'm outside and it's really cold. And winter is coming, man. Winter's coming. The leaves of the tree are falling. And it's beautiful though. We have a beautiful tree down here, and the tree has a big trunk. It's got beautiful branches, and what you don't see are the roots deep down in the ground. And we're kind of like that. We've got roots deep down that you don't see. And we've got our trunk, we've got our branches, and we show ourselves to the world, but deep down the roots are what is most important. And now, so just imagine that a tree is sick and that it has all like stains on it and it starts to rotten. And what you might try to do at first, and how ridiculous that even sounds, is to paint the tree, paint the trunk, put leaves on the tree. But just imagine, that's what we all do when we are trying to cure our symptoms. What we don't see are the roots. And what I want to do right here, right now, is be completely vulnerable to you. I want to tell you a story that I think will benefit, that you will benefit a lot from. See, I lived in various countries. I lived in Ecuador, I lived in Colombia, and I traveled a bit around the world. And so I know many people that have done that as well. And what we all do when we come back is say to ourselves, hey, I can't root here. You know, I can't seem to find my vibe, my flow. It seems as if I don't belong here anymore. Funny, eh? And so, many years I told myself that story as well. Until very recently, I discovered that that was having not such a good impact on me, on myself. See, that's the path of healing though. You start searching for all of these other things and you start to improve yourself. But what you forget is that you're abundant anywhere you are. And that neglecting your roots, telling yourself the story that you don't belong here or that you would belong better in a different place where there's sun, where there's no matter what. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to do that because, like, we all have our thermostat. You know, our bodies have or need 37 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much Fahrenheit that is, but you know, there's optimal conditions and everybody's got a preference. But when you're starting to tell yourself the story that you don't belong here and that everything in other countries is better, you're kind of neglecting yourself and you're not ever home. So what I would like to invite you to do is accept your roots, because maybe you are telling yourself you're not worthy. Maybe you're telling yourself, I can't do this. But what if I tell you that those roots that you don't see are what you need? Because when you do that, when you tell yourself that story, you're actually ripping out the roots. And when the roots are ill, then the trunk is eventually going to become ill as well. Because the roots are the most important part of the tree. They take the nutrients out, right? And they stand firmly when there's a storm passing. And so in that same way, when then there's a storm coming your way, and you're telling yourself you're not worthy, or in my case, you don't belong here, well then you're not standing firmly, deeply rooted. See, I remember the story a Buddhist monk once told me 3 years ago, and I laughed when I finally understood what I was doing to myself, telling myself this story. He said, well, it's good for you to travel and to always, go places, but just try it for one more time. And if you feel that like then you're not home, well then there's probably a problem or a bullshit story you're telling yourself. He didn't obviously say bullshit, those are my words. But it was only until like very recently that story really sinked in. You can have it at the conscious level, but when you understand something at the body level, deeply down inside in your gut, it's when things really kick in. So I would like to invite you, these roots, your roots, get to the root cause of the problem. And that's not easy, that takes time. You can paint the tree, you can put leaves on it, you can, what we all do is go drink and just forget about the deep cause of the problem and spend time in bars and music and go out and party. But what does that resolve? It doesn't resolve anything. You're neglecting yourself because of it. And that's what my story tells as well. Telling myself that I should not belong here, that I would need to go live somewhere else. Although that being true is neglecting yourself at this very moment in the present. And what you need to do, or what I needed to start doing, was to start from here, where my roots were, because I stood, and the legs are the part that are the roots of the tree. They're our roots. And we stand firmly on our feet, on our legs that touches the ground. And so every time you tell yourself such a story, or you try to run away from your problem, you're taking away your roots, and you cannot flourish. You cannot grow. You start to rotten. And so you gotta stop telling yourself that story and really get deep to the root cause of your problem. Accepting yourself right now, right here, accepting the problem, the pain that is going on in yourself at this very moment, which is also fine for you to accept. It's all good, because once you start doing that, from then you start allowing those roots to be fed again by the ground. And when then a storm comes, you are deeply rooted, you stand firmly on your feet, and the storm can go away. And in the meantime, you heal. So this is my invitation to you. I am home. I have arrived. Tell yourself these words. Believe it. Feel it. And change. Much love. MVDB. Peace.